Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed for joining this session. In the next 10 minutes, what I'm going to try and do is give you a flavour of the depth and breadth of fintech opportunities that we see right here in Hong Kong and through Hong Kong. My name is Phillips and I lead a team at Invest Hong Kong, a department of the Hong Kong government that helps both mainland and international companies set up and grow in and via Hong Kong. FinTech is so important that we have got a dedicated FinTech team at Invest Hong Kong, and their job is to help you identify opportunities right here and then take them through to success. What I'd like to do really is drill down into a little bit of detail about the opportunities that we see available, and more broadly how, together with other industry stakeholders and industry itself, that we promote the greater adoption of FinTech here in Hong Kong. And I'm going to touch on four broad areas. Firstly, adoption of FinTech. I'll touch on the important part of fundraising, both from private markets and also sources of government funding. Share a little bit about what we're doing to promote FinTech adoption, and then also some of the work that we're doing about fostering expansion. And in particular, I'm going to be talking about how we have got a program to help FinTechs that have set up in Hong Kong expand internationally. As we all know, Hong Kong is one of the world's leading international financial centres, and of course, on the back of that, a very vibrant FinTech centre. But we also know, as government and as stakeholders, that we need to see our financial services industry continuously upgrading, and the adoption of FinTech lies at the very heart of that. And Invest Hong Kong, together with many stakeholders, is looking at the positive adoption of FinTech across multiple financial services sectors. We know that funding too is a critical issue for high growth businesses. So I'm going to talk in a little bit more detail about what we see in the capital markets here, both debt and equity, and drill into a little bit of detail about the funding schemes that the government makes available to FinTechs at every step of the process. And to pick up on our theme overall of pushing boundaries and reaping benefits, we believe passionately that we have got to keep pushing ourselves, keep pushing the ecosystem to innovate. I was very taken by Eddie Yu's comment earlier today about radical open-mindedness. And I think that is what we're trying to do when we're looking at how we really push the boundaries here in Hong Kong to ensure that Hong Kong really is at the leading edge of FinTech globally. I'll share three areas that I think you will all find exciting. I think all of them have been touched on already today. And the last point I'll cover off really is making it happen. We all want to see success. We all want to see the fruits of our labours. And at Invest Hong Kong, our job is partly to help you achieve that success. So perhaps we can take a quick look at the depth and scale of the market. I'd focus you particularly on the right-hand column of this slide, where it gives you a flavour of how deep actually different financial verticals are in Hong Kong. More than 1,800 asset managers, 160 plus licensed banks, 8 virtual banks, almost 20 million credit cards in circulation, more than 160 insurers, 4 virtual insurers, and 30% of our SMEs are import-export related, so very important from the trade finance and the FX point of view. But if there are two takeaways, key takeaways from this slide, I would say it is the number of financial institutions which generates this scale of a B2B opportunity. And then if you look at the asset and wealth management size, of the market, the concentration of wealth in Hong Kong is very significant, and that leads to both B2B and B2C wealth tech opportunities. Our regulators, as I'm sure you've heard a lot already, both enable and regulate the market here in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority has a FinTech 2025 strategy, which is about all banks going FinTech. And that really is about encouraging, in a very positive way, banks to adopt FinTech at the very heart of their business model. And the good news is the tech baseline assessment shows that banks are already a long way down that track. We've heard a little bit already today about CBDC and also consent-based data sharing, and I'll come back to those a little bit later. We also have heard today the policy statement from Hong Kong on how we're going to deal with virtual assets going forward. So this is just another example of where we're creating a policy environment that supports the development of the market. At a practical level, we have a scheme that some of you might find useful. It's a proof of concept subsidy scheme, which helps fintechs secure funding for POCs working with financial institutions. So depending upon the scope and the scale of impact of the POC, you might be able to tap into funding from 150,000 Hong Kong dollars up to a maximum of 400,000 Hong Kong dollars. Let's take a look now at fundraising. Private capital in Hong Kong, we have the second largest pool of private capital in Asia, second only to the mainland. And you can see from this chart that our capital markets, that capital pool, is deeper than every other significant regional centre. And that's important to growth businesses. So access to capital at every stage, angel, VC, PE, and all the way through to listing on our stock exchange is all within the realms of possibility right here in Hong Kong. The government also has a range of funding schemes that you can potentially tap into. At Invest Hong Kong, we pulled them together on this very busy slide. I don't expect you to read it, but if you want to know more, the QR code takes you through to a link to all of the funding schemes. But a range of schemes available at different stages of the development of your business, and a whole range of different schemes for certain functionality of the business. And our job at Invest Hong Kong is to help you navigate which schemes are most appropriate for your own business. I talked a little bit about the need to continuously push the boundaries, to continuously innovate. That phrase that Eddie Yu used, open radical-mindedness, again comes to my mind. We've heard a lot already today about what we're doing in virtual assets, and the policy statement today, I think, is a bold, clear statement that Hong Kong is going to play a leading role in this space. Again, many of the topics on this slide were covered off earlier today, but I think they're worth repeating, particularly Hong Kong's distinct environment in the context of one country, two systems. So the virtual asset environment in Hong Kong is distinct to Hong Kong. The regulatory framework is going to provide the clarity and the certainty that participants in the market need, but also provide, importantly, investor protection. The commercial data interchange, also a really, really exciting development, and obviously that will be the oil that facilitates the growth of many more fintech applications. We can see it already as a potential driver of SME lending, but I'm sure there are going to be more and more use cases as we embed data interchange into the ecosystem. CBDC, also something where lots of good stuff is happening. Together with the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, we've been talking to the business sector about the opportunities. And these are just 8 of the areas that businesses have said they would like to see Hong Kong lead the way. As I said at the beginning, our job at Invest Hong Kong is to help make things happen. And we have got a dedicated scheme for fintechs to grow your business here in Hong Kong. It's called Global Fast Track. If you want to know more, if you want to join it, please scan the QR code and have a chat to our team. At the heart of it, it gives you a structured approach and connectivity to 4 key segments. That includes corporate clients, lots of different logos that I'm sure you'll recognize there. To investors, to that private capital pool, the fuel for your growth. To potential service providers and channel partners that will help you speed your growth in the marketplace. And finally, as I mentioned at the outset, we also want you to grow from Hong Kong into other markets. And we have a number of partners that help you do just that at an international scale. So if we can help, we would love to do so. Please get in touch with Invest Hong Kong, either here in Hong Kong or in our 32 locations around the world. Thank you very much indeed, and enjoy the rest of the day.